and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, my name is Michelle, and here on this channel I make all kinds of mommy videos. So if those are the type of videos you like to watch, I'd love for you to consider hitting that red subscribe button so you can see every time I have a new video. So today I am going to be doing my labor and delivery story. It's taken me some time because adjusting with a newborn is hard, and adjusting with a newborn and a toddler is a whole nother ball game. So finally, I'm sitting down to talk to you guys about my labor and delivery story. I have notes on my phone because obviously it's been some time, and I feel like after birth everything just gets a little bit fuzzy. Like all the details, I'm like, did this happen and when did this happen? So I wrote it all down so that I don't forget. So let's get into it. For those of you who don't know, I did have a home birth. That was my plan. I did pack a hospital bag just in case I changed my mind. So I was really excited about that and happy that that part kind of went according to plan. So I knew I had everything basically ready to go. I had like a laundry basket with all the home birth stuff. I had my hospital bag. Everything was kind of ready to go. And it was November 28th, which was the day before my last day of work. So the day that my baby was born. So if you guys don't already know, there is a name and gender reveal video. I will leave it here in the cards. So if you want to go watch that and come back, you can do so. But I am going to say what my baby's name is and what I had. The day that my son Kai was born was supposed to be my last day of work before mat leave. I almost made it till the end, but it's so funny because all my coworkers were like, "You're not gonna make it. Why are you here?" But about 1:30 in the morning, I started to feel like a pain. I don't even know how to explain what it felt like. It's not a contraction, but it just felt like a weird twinge kind of feeling, and it was enough to wake me up out of my sleep. And I kind of woke up and I was like, what is this? And I kind of felt like maybe I'll go to the bathroom, but I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna roll over and go back to sleep because I'm tired. So I went back to sleep, and it had felt the pain again at about 2 o'clock. And this time I was like, okay, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. And so when I went to the bathroom, obviously guys, it's a labor and delivery, so it's a little bit TMI. But when I went to the bathroom at 2 o'clock, I had what they call bloody show, which I didn't have with my daughter. And bloody show is, I'm looking it up, is thick vaginal discharge that contains mucus and blood from the cervix. So I had that, and I thought, okay, I know that this is, for a lot of people, a sign of labor. So I went back to bed. From the bathroom, I opened the door and I'm calling to Huang, and I'm like, there are some things happening here. And he's like, oh, well, you better call the midwife. So I got out of the bathroom, I put a pad on, went back to bed, called my midwife, and she said, well, if you wake up in the morning and you feel fine and, you know, you're still pregnant, basically, you can go into work. Because I was like, can I go to work? Should I stay home? What does this mean? How long from this point would I be going into labor or have the baby? What should I do? What's the protocol? So she was like, if you wake up in the morning, you feel fine, baby's still there, you go to work if you want to. It's up to you. And I said, okay. I told my husband, he was like, I'm going to put in your day for work so that everybody knows you're not coming. And I was like, nope, I'm going to wing it. I'm going to see if I'm fine in the morning. I'm going to go. It's my last day. So I sat there, we were chatting for a little bit, and I started to feel, I felt a contraction. It was very light, nothing too painful. So I opened up my contraction app. The one that I used is called, I'm trying to figure out where I put it. It's called Contractions, and I can show you guys in my pregnancy folder. If you guys can see, here is Contractions, and when I open it up, it just looks like this. So it'll actually show you the contractions that I was having actually when I had him, but it kind of just tracks all your contractions, the times, how long, how frequent. You just press it when you want to start and stop your contractions, and then basically after your contractions become consistent, then the app will tell you like it's time to pack up your stuff, get ready to go to the hospital. So I started tracking the contractions. So funny enough, as I am tracking my contractions in the app, it's probably about half an hour that the app is telling me like, oh, you need to get ready to go to the hospital. It was maybe like 10-15 minutes in. And I'm like, why is it telling me this already? And I ignored it, I kept tracking, and then by the half an hour mark it had told me twice, like, you need to pack your stuff, get ready, go to the hospital. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna call back the midwife, I guess, if it really continues. And before I called her, as I was timing contractions, I felt this gush of water as I'm sitting in the bed. And I'm so glad that I had put on a pad. So I felt this like gush of water, and I was like, oh, I told my husband, I was like, I think my water just broke, because with my daughter, my water never broke. I just had lost my mucus plug, and I started having contractions, and then I went into the hospital, so they ended up breaking my water with her. So I'd never experienced what it felt like for your water to break on its own, and all of a sudden I just felt this gush of water, and I was like, definitely that's my water breaking. So I said, okay, I'm definitely going to call the midwife. I'm not going into work, put my day in, this party is getting started. So I called back my midwife, and she said, okay. So 3:30 my contractions started, and 3 o'clock my water broke, and by 3:30 I called my midwife, because now the app is telling me you need to go to the hospital. I'm like trying to get my time frame right. And when I called her at 3:30, she said, okay, I'm gonna leave and come now. I'm about half an hour away, so I'll see you around 4. So after that, I called my mom. I let her know what was going on. I told her she should come, just because Mia was sleeping and I wanted to have somebody in the house, and they suggest that too when you have a home birth, to have somebody in the house to watch your other children in case they wake up or they need something, that you kind of can be focused on the moment. So I called my mom to come, and so by 4 o'clock everybody was there basically, and she checked me, and I feel like when she checked me the first time, I was 4 or 5 centimeters dilated already. And contractions were not too bad. I was able to kind of move around, and I feel like everything progressed very quickly. The second time she checked me, I think it had been maybe an hour or so that she checked me, and she said, okay, you're about 6 to 7 centimeters dilated. And I think by that time I started to feel like I'm done now. Like the contractions were so intense, and because with my daughter I wasn't progressing, so I ended up doing an epidural because I was gonna get the Pitocin, and so I didn't really feel what those contractions were like in like active labor stage. So when those contractions started, they were so intense, like painful. And as you get closer to your baby coming, your contractions get longer, and this time in between them gets shorter. So I would be having contractions that were lasting for 2+ minutes, and then I would get maybe like a 30-second break, and then I'd have another contraction. They were just back to back to back. And it was to the point where I couldn't move. I was just shaking. I was in so much pain. And sometimes he would be moving during a contraction, so he'd be rolling and stuff like that, and it just made the pain times 10. And at that point I started, like, they wanted me to try different positions, so I tried going like on my knees next to the bed. I tried sitting on the toilet, as I said, sometimes that helps to like help your body to naturally feel like it's bringing the baby down. I hated all those positions. I just wanted to be on my rocking chair that I took from my daughter's room. I was in the rocking chair, just sitting there, just closing my eyes and just breathing through it. And I feel like that's the best way for me to labor. Like, I always think I'm gonna do things like bounce on the ball, and I'm gonna move here, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm like, no, I just want to sit and get through these contractions and then push out this baby. Because that's how I was with me. I was just sitting and just quiet, get through the contraction and move on. So I basically stayed in the rocking chair most of the time. My mom was giving me like peppermint essential oil on like a washcloth to like smell, and my husband had this Asian, it's like a green oil that helps with like headaches, nausea, things like that. And I asked him to get that too, to put on just because I was so nauseous. And I think that it's unavoidable. I had it with my first daughter, and I thought that that was just something that just happened to me in that like labor, but I think it's something that happens a lot to people, that they get nauseous. I think because the pain is so intense, it's like your body's natural response. So I feel like it wasn't as bad as with my daughter. Every contraction I had with my daughter, I was throwing up. To the point where it was just painful because I had nothing in my system. I was just throwing up constantly. This time around, I feel like the essential oil and the green oil helped me. I was still throwing up, but not constantly every contraction. By the end, it was pretty continuous, almost every contraction or every other contraction that I was. And I think that's just because the pain was so intense. I was sitting in the rocking chair. My contractions started to get more intense. Now, I don't even know what time this was because I wasn't keeping track, but I remember I was sitting on the bed and I was just like crying because I basically was just telling her, like, I want to go to the hospital. I want some pain meds. Like, I need something for pain. And she's like, we don't have anything. You're probably not going to make it to the hospital, and if you do, they're not going to be able to give you any pain relief. Like, you're just going to go there to push. Like, there won't be that option, and I don't think you're going to make it there. And the hospital is maybe like a 5-10 minute drive from my house. So I was like losing my mind because I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I don't think I can physically handle this pain anymore. Like, I don't know how long this is going to be. And that's when she was telling me, like, you're a 6'7", like, you can do this. Just get through this one contraction and then move on to the next. Like, just focus on getting through the one contraction instead of thinking about like the 20 that are to come. Which, when you're in pain and you're in so much pain, you just feel like it's never gonna end, and it's just like not always helpful. But I was just wanting relief. Like, I wanted to not do it anymore. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I can't do this. Like, I can't. Like, this is so painful. And my pain tolerance is pretty high. So for me to be like wanting meds, wanting to get out, crying, saying I can't do this, like, even my mom was like, I knew that the pain for you had to be pretty bad. And so I went back into the rocking chair, and as I was in there, I could just slowly feel like my body was naturally wanting to push. It's like if you know you have to go do a number 2 and your body is naturally just doing it and you're like, I have to go, I have to go. That's kind of what it feels like. It feels like your body is just naturally trying to make you push without you doing it. And so when I started to feel these little urges, like I kind of want to push, the midwives were like, we think you should go on the toilet because that will help to bring baby down and to kind of help your body to naturally progress you. Like, if you sit on the toilet or you move around, she's like, it will help you to dilate a little bit faster. It might speed the process up. So the reason I didn't want to move around is that when you switch to a new position, that first contraction that you have afterwards is the worst one. Like, they get easier, but the first contraction after you kind of move around into a new position or a new spot hurts so bad. So I just didn't want to move out of the rocking chair. I was crying. I was like, I don't want to move. I just want to stay here. And they're like, if you want to progress and you want to have this baby, like, let's try it. Like, let's just try it for like 5 minutes, or like give it a few contractions, and if it doesn't help, then you can go back to your chair. So finally I was crying, and I had to help me up. Hwang and my mom helped me, and all of us and the midwives went into the bathroom, and I sat on the toilet, and you know, the contractions came and they were so painful, and I was like, I want to get out. I don't want to do this anymore. This really, really hurts. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the pain was intense. And then I started to feel like I need to push, like I need to push, and I could feel my body trying to push, and I was like, oh my gosh, I am not going to have my baby in the toilet. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I definitely watched that show, like, I didn't know I was pregnant. And you hear about people like having their baby in like a gas station bathroom on the floor, or like in the toilet at the hospital because they don't know what's happening to them and they think they need to poop, and then they birth their baby in the toilet. And I was like, I am not doing that. So as soon as I started to feel like I really needed to push, I started to freak out. I was like, I need to get off this toilet. I need to get out. Like, I need to push. And she's like, okay, let's go to the bed and check you. So I laid on the bed, and I knew that I was ready because when she checked me, she didn't have to go as far. You guys know, if you've had a baby, you know when they check you, that pain is horrible. But she didn't have to go as far, and it didn't hurt. So I was like, okay, I definitely could tell that my body was ready, and she was like, yep, you're ready to go, you're ready to push. So they started getting everything ready, and they just told me, they're like, naturally when you have the contractions, like I was holding my legs, and she said, when you have the contractions and you feel it, just push, like just push. And so it felt a little bit different, because I feel like pushing with an epidural and pushing without naturally is just two different things. It just feels a lot different. And once you lay down and you feel that pressure and you're ready to give birth, I feel like the pushing part is, for me, like the least painful. I didn't feel pain with those contractions. It just felt like I needed to take a number 2. Like it just felt like I needed to poop. Like, so I was happy because I knew this was happening and I wasn't going to be in that intense pain anymore. So I was thrilled at that point. And then with every contraction I was pushing, and I kind of slowly figured it out. I honestly, it's the weirdest thing to say, but I cannot tell you guys how relieved I was when I pushed and his head came out, because it felt like, I don't know, it just felt like relief. It's like there's this pressure, like if you have a can and the pressure's building up and then you pop the tab and then it's just like whoosh, like a release. It felt like that. It just felt like a release. Like if you have to take, honestly, I can't stop saying poop in this video at this point, but it's true. Like it's like if you have to take a really, like you have to poop really bad and you finally like get that poop out, the relief you feel after that, it's like that, but like times 10, because it's a human being. So yeah, like I pushed and then his head came out and he didn't make even one sound. Like I had my husband get the mirror so I could see, because I had the mirror with my daughter and I loved it. And honestly, his head was just there and he was just quiet, not in a concerning way, but he just didn't cry. He was just chilling there. His head's just laying on the bed. And then I pushed again, and they were telling me like little pushes and kind of telling me how to. And of course, once the shoulders come out, that baby just slips out. Like there really isn't much pushing to do. And he was out, and that was it. He was born. It was definitely an amazing experience. So I pushed for less than 10 minutes and he came out. It was a very fast birth, because by the time my contractions started at about 2:30 and he was born at 7:14 a.m. So it was very quick compared to my daughter. Was about an 11-12 hour labor. So this definitely was very, very short. But it felt like forever. Like when you're in that pain and in that moment, it just feels like forever. But honestly, it was an absolutely amazing experience. I really wanted to know what it would like to have a home birth, and I always wanted, from even with my daughter, to have a natural and vaginal birth. And so I'm so excited, like, and happy that I got to have that. And I definitely would want to do it again. I think it's just in that moment, it's just so hard. I don't know that I'd do home birth. Like I don't know if I would stay at home again. It depends on, you know, where I live and how close I am to a hospital, like all these factors. I feel like the post-birth part is what really appealed to me in terms of being at home, just because at the hospital, like, you just feel like you want to be comfortable. And I didn't stay at the hospital with my daughter. As soon as I was cleared to go and everything, like 4 or 5 hours after birth, you're allowed to go home. So I didn't stay in the hospital with her either. So after I had Kai, I was just so grateful to be in my own space, to be in my bed, and to be at home. Like my dad came, my sister came that night, my mom went home, she came back, and Mia woke up and she got to meet her baby brother. First thing when she woke up in the morning, all of a sudden she had a brother. And we were just home together, and it was just nice to be on my couch and have my baby there and just be like just relaxed. I think that was really good. In terms of after I had him, you know, of course you have to birth the placenta, but you're just so caught up in your baby that you don't even know what's happening. I did have, I think it was 2 stitches, very minimal. I think I actually had less stitches than with my daughter. I think with her I had at least 4 or 5 stitches. I found that like healing and everything after that from a natural birth was easier. And I don't know if that's because I was pushing a little bit differently, he came out a little bit differently. I think it was like a combination of things, versus like pushing with an epidural. I feel like that's why I tore a little bit more with her. So the recovery and like that factor afterwards with him was easy too. What I loved about it was that it's basically not as messy as people think. It's like the way they come is the way they leave your house. They had their sheets, they had puppy pads, they had towels. I had old towels, but I feel like basically none of my stuff really got ruined. So it wasn't that messy. They just wrapped everything up. Even like the placenta and him coming out, all of that was just wrapped up, and there was a big bag of garbage that went out, and that was basically it. So that was really nice that there wasn't like this big whole mess to clean up. The midwife stayed for a bit, just like getting all the information, weighing him. When he was born, he was 6 pounds 8 ounces, smaller than his sister. And yeah, like everything was just good. Like he nursed well, and he just slept, and it was just wonderful. Everything was just happening around me. I was able to eat. Like I got some food to eat, some things to drink, and I was just chill. I didn't have to leave my house for like a few weeks after I had him. I didn't have to leave if I didn't want to, which was really nice. That's pretty much it for my labor and delivery story. It was quick, it was intense, but overall it was an amazing experience that got me my sweet baby boy, so I was really excited about that. Anyways guys, I'm gonna see, he's actually sleeping I think downstairs with my husband, but I'm gonna check and see if he's awake because I want to show him to you guys. Okay, here is, oh, my sweet baby boy Kai Francis. He's like kind of sleepy. What's happening? Oh, he's probably gonna be hungry soon. He's just, yeah, you hungry? Yeah. Anyways guys, that is it for this video. It's my baby, who I'm gonna have to go feed because he's showing that he's hungry. Anyways guys, that is it for this video and my labor and delivery story. If you guys liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you aren't already subscribed, hit that red subscribe button so you could join my little internet family. And I will see you guys in my next video. Love you guys. Bye.